she's just a bluehead country trader, feminist, race baiter, Rapino, Ronaldo, potato, equal pay, I think not, oh, bitch, this ain't the woke lotto.
Liberal at a football game.
Love that we're checking for guns. Can we also check for COVID? Are the better teams ever forced to give points to the bad teams?
No.
They should look into that. Did he just say special teams? Finally, some women. Did you see how big those suites are? They could definitely house refugees.
Why don't you house them?
No. This is such a violent sport. It really reinforces toxic masculinity. Soldier Field.
Chinese authorities have changed the ending of a Bible story. The story claims Jesus is a sinner and even that he killed a woman. This as China is expected to renew a deal with the Vatican. NTD's Juliet Saw.
Even something as silly as throat size, men have on average a 40% larger throat, which sounds like it's nothing. But when you're grasping for air, that 40% larger throat makes a huge difference in athletic success, not to mention height. You guys know the differences.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
I mean, what I can say here is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition happened,
I'm going to try again.
The rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is that a yes? So I'm trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're not answering that. Let me ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is different than gender.
Why
and I do believe that women's sports have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a separate category for women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place which they...
I'm sorry, I can't listen anymore of that. It goes on forever. So I'm not sure what I'm most upset about, whether the fact that we're paying for this as taxpayers for them to have hearings where nothing gets done, or the fact that she can't answer the question, what's the difference between a man and a woman?
I think she was making very valid points. That sounded just perfect. Made perfect sense.
It makes me kind of question what's going on in our government. But I question that every day. It feels like forever since we've been doing the show.
What, just since we did our last show? Or
yeah, like it seems like it's been a while.
It has been a week.
Charlie checking in. Look at that, politically incorrect mechanic who obviously tuned in for one reason only.
And that ain't us?
He never listens live. He never works on my car that quick, ever. Like, I could bring it in with $1,000 and say, here you go, fix the car, and he wouldn't do it that quick. But because one person happens to be on tonight.
Glad he's such a fan of mine.
Yeah, he's a big fan. He's a huge fan. We might as well not even waste time because he's already here. Right. And so, the man, the myth, the legend, my friend, I think, but now my boss, kind of. Bob Frantz, how are you, my friend?
You like the personally, can you hear me okay? I don't know how that's coming out. Okay. It's a little bit weird in my own headset here. Yeah, you like my personally constructed backdrop?
Yes, background? I do. I love that. That was the first picture that I was ever forced to take at the other radio station.
And I'm glad you put your all into it, because you looked like you prepped for that for a while there. You primped, you got your hair just right. You made sure that cigarette was hanging out at right, just the right angle.
You could tell that the hair hadn't been washed in approximately 3 months. And yeah, it looked good.
That is priceless, man. I just, you know what I did? I Googled for worst picture of Seth Williams on the internet, and that was the first one that popped up. So
I'm guessing that you're getting back at me and Chris. This is Chris Aiken, by the way, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Chris, good to see you, man. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, same.
You're getting back at me for the picture that is on the website of you.
I can't believe you threw that one up there, for crying out loud. I mean, I don't care
Seth.
if you have a little promotional picture, like, you know, the size on the screen of my picture right now, or yours, you know, is fine. But you had that thing full screen. It was like a poster of me and my own face. And I don't like my own mirror, for Christ's sake. I don't need to see it on a computer monitor.
People are texting you already. They're happy to have you on.
Hey, Michael, how are you? Hey, how come my text didn't go through? I did a little chat. I mean, I don't know how. Oh, that's a text. I'm sorry. I used the chat function on StreamYard when I saw the politically incorrect mechanic there.
Oh, yeah. It went to private chat. I think it says that guy's personally responsible for lack of parking in the city of Lakewood.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Yeah, it went to the private chat.
Oh, that's why. Okay, so I got to figure out how to do this.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, just put it in the comments.
Well, where's comments here? All I see is that chat with the people. I don't see. Where do I put comments?
What site are you on?
Maybe I'm not. I'm on the StreamYard. I mean,
he's on the regular StreamYard. Maybe you can't.
Maybe that's why. Yeah.
You're limited as a guest.
Yeah, I know. I guess so. I gotta fix my background now. Watching you in those circles is giving me a headache. Can I change my background while we're live? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Let's see. Edit name and headline. No, don't want to do that. Edit audio. Don't want to do that. Stop mic. I don't want to do that.
Do you have settings down there somewhere?
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yep. There we go. Here we go. Virtual background. Let's get to something I'm a little bit more comfortable with. Like, there we go. That's better. There you go. That's a little better.
I chose the end of the world for today. Because...
I love that, by the way. And you know what? If that montage, that opening montage you played, Seth, if that doesn't underscore the end of the world, I don't know what does. I mean, seriously.
Well, that's what, I mean, I want to get into a lot of different things with you, but
yeah,
one of the things that, I've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, especially since, issue 1 and everything, is that I truly believe, and you saw the post on Facebook, that we are headed in a direction of something big happening. And I think it's bigger than just an election or a rigged election or whatever. I think there's something big that's going to happen in this country because we're at a tipping point, I believe.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you think, but I think that we are at a tipping point where literally somebody hates you when you're in the car next to them. And we can't live like that. We can't go on like that. The Roman Empire fell. Eventually, this is going to fall.
Well, I mean, I talk about this on a fairly regular basis, as you know, since you joined us. And by the way, it is so freaking awesome that you came across town and came over to Salem. I'm not kidding you, Seth. You are such an asset. You are obviously an asset to the other station for so many years. I loved working with you when we were both there. But this January is 10 years that I've been at WHK now.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is. It is stupid. And we have done so much since that time. But anyway, to your point, yeah, I mean, there is hatred because of political beliefs. There used to be, our side doesn't like your side. I disagree. You disagree. We're going to let's vote it out and see what happens. And, if it doesn't work, we're going to have another election to try to win the next one and all these different things. And we'll debate the merits. And now it's just pure, unadulterated hatred. I'll give you an example. I had a guy on Twitter who was just one of these trolls, one of my trolls. I mean, I got a lot of people who hate me. Thankfully, I have a lot of people who love me. It's the nature of the beast when you do what I do.
Yes, it is.
And I had a guy who hates me, and this is last Tuesday, leading up into issue 1 and in the days after issue 1. And some of the most vile things you've ever seen somebody could say about somebody. So curiosity, once in a blue moon, all right, who is this clown? So I clicked his name and I looked at his little timeline, and there were 3 separate posts about, I don't know, a few weeks back in which he talked about having nothing to live for and talked about ending his life. I'm not joking here at all. This isn't a bit. This isn't a clowning thing. And I, rather than respond to him with, hatred in response, I just gave him a dude. Paraphrasing, as I've since blocked him as of earlier this morning, because I said, just glanced at your timeline. I see from your comments you're going through something bad. I wish you a restoration of health mentally and physically, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Just super positive like that. And he responds to, there's nothing worse than fake compassion from Christian conservatives or something like that.
Jesus.
And then today he just threw more hate and just vile, just venomous stuff at me. And I finally even posted it. It's on my Twitter right now. And I said, I blocked out his name because I don't want to do that to him, although it's public, he's up there. But I blocked out his name and I put the 3 things there that showed what his current state of mind is. And I said I responded with kindness to this individual like what I would with anybody, despite political differences. And I said, I don't block people very often, but this guy has earned his block. I tried to reach out in the spirit of just humanity, and that's what I got in return. So that's an example of what you're talking about. When you say something big and something really bad is coming, when that's how you respond to somebody who is actually trying to offer an olive branch. He was adamantly no on issue 1. He's adamantly yes on every progressive, communist, socialist, Marxist idea you can think of. I'm clearly on the other side of that. But when you just reach out to say, bruh, looks like you're suffering a lot here. I hope you're okay with whatever your situation is. And the response I get is, yeah, there it is. And that's the stuff that, he wrote. And, and again, I blocked his @ out and his last name because I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but I wanted people to know this is what's out there. And this is, it's sad that rather than in a spirit of humanity and him responding and saying, I appreciate that, man, I still think you're dead wrong, but thank you. He gave me some hatred that I just didn't want to see anymore. So I blocked it. And that's evident. That's evidence of what you're talking about, Seth.
And the crazy thing that's going on now is, everybody will look back and say, well, 9/11, we all came back together, which we did. I mean, there's no doubting that. I don't think if we had another 9/11, God forbid, I don't think it would help. I really don't think we would have that national outpouring that we had on 9/12. Do you?
No, not at all. I really don't. I mean, first of all, that was very, very short-lived. And I think a lot of that was fake anyway. There were some people who put their hatred for the other side aside for the purposes of the moment because of shock. But once their shock wore off, which was very short, I think, and then their own feelings came back out, it was over. But, I'll be honest with you. I think we're going through a perpetual state of 9/11s right now. And I really mean that. There are so many lives being destroyed every single day, whether it be in the abortion issue, whether it be in little kids having their lives permanently altered because they're just by the thousands getting on cross hormones and puberty blockers and all of these other things. There's so many terrible things that are happening right now. It's almost like just a shit ton of 9/11s where lives are being destroyed. And rather than people coming together and saying, we got to figure out what's going on here, people are like, F you, I hope you die. Yeah. So I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know if a Russian invasion or a Chinese invasion would bring everybody together right now because they'd be fighting about whether or not we should try to learn to understand the Chinese just a little bit more rather than battling for our lives. And this is crazy.
No, I agree. Seth, are you frozen?
I think he is.
No, but he lost his sound. Reboot, Seth.
Yeah, I saw the pixelation on his screen there, and it looks like he might be, and he's trying to talk. We can't hear, brother.
Well, he'll reboot.
Yeah.
Me and you will talk for a while, Bob, since we haven't talked before. So Seth always brings up the point, and I'll reiterate his point. I don't necessarily agree with it fully, but he tends to think that there's just nothing we can do. He thinks it's over, it's already falling down the cliff instead of at the edge of the cliff. You talk to people every day, a lot more than we do. What are you hearing, and do you think that we are truly over the cliff, or are we still kind of got our toes at the edge of the cliff, but maybe leaning?
Well, there are days where I feel like we're over the cliff, and I'm almost glad about it. And what I mean by that is I want some context here. Mm-hmm. There comes a point to me when reasonable, rational people will look at unreason and irrationality and say, I can never get along with that. There's a Rubicon that has been crossed. For example, if the other side insists on saying that men can get pregnant and are going to insist that I say men can get pregnant, and are going to insist that little children growing up in our schools right now, which will be my grandchildren someday. I've got a 21 and a 20-year-old right now. Actually, 2 days from now, my daughter will be 22. But, at some point, I'm going to, that they have to say that little boys are girls and little girls are boys, and nobody knows at the time they're born. The doctors are just guessing based on a little piece of their anatomy, and we don't know. And someday that boy might grow up to be pregnant. If we're supposed to say those things to our kids and try to get them to believe that which is not real, I can't exist with those people in my life, and I can't exist with those people running various aspects of our culture, Chris. I mean, we're talking about things where it's different than just political ideology, fiscal conservatism versus fiscal, tax and spend liberalism. Right. We're talking about things that are core to just us as people. Biology is now in question, or at least they're trying to make it so. And there's a point where I look at those people and I kind of realize we're over that cliff. We are too far gone. There's no coming back together with people who insist that a man who says he's a woman is, trans women are real women, despite the obvious. I can't get with people like that. So if that means we're over the cliff, Seth is right. We are.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
I mean, son of a bitch. I swear to God, I'm going to call the cable company. I'm going to punch somebody in the throat over there. The amount of money that I pay and don't get service, yeah, something's going down.
I want to see a Seth Williams throat punch somewhere.
And on one leg, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Take that prosthetic off and leg punch. Just,
Because you see, Bob, they don't offer anything but Cox cable in my area.
Yeah.
And so they have me by the balls.
Yeah.
And so I pay $300 a month and I can never get a damn service. My cable box resets in the middle of dinner, and then I want to punch somebody in the throat because I watch Judge Judy while I eat, and that screws up my entire routine. So the cable thing is going to be an issue for me.
I understand, brother. I understand. I share your pain. I feel your pain, and I share your pain. I'm very fortunate that I've got pretty solid coverage where I am right now. But we only have one. I won't say which one it is. Doesn't matter. But yeah, that sucks if you've only got one choice and they suck at it. So what are you gonna do?
It's absolutely bizarre because it happens at least once a week.
Once a show, yeah.
Usually it happens at the end of the show. All of a sudden, beep, nothing.
Well, the good news is, though, you've got a great co-host who can fill the gap if yours goes down.
I know, he's good. He's very good.
When the power goes out at the radio station, or when the computer catches fire like it did a few days ago, literally, then we're just off the air. I got nothing. So at least you got Chris there to hook you up.
Yeah,
he's got your
good
back.
time.
Well, go ahead, Seth. We just established that Bob feels that, like you, we're pretty much over the cliff.
Well, because again, like I was gonna say before I was off in the middle of nowhere, I had the same kind of problem online. I was talking to people about issue 1, and all I said was, "Hey, you know what? We can agree to disagree. I hope you have a great night, great weekend, and I wish the best for the country." That's all I said. And immediately I was attacked. And you know what, Bob? These were people that I went to school with. These were Ignatius people. These were guys that I thought were my friends, and they were attacking me to no end. And I think it's not just issue 1. It's become the abortion thing. It's become the LGBTQ thing. It's become everything that we can't now seem to get along on anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, just to talk about the abortion thing, because of what's coming up in November 7th, it's hard to believe that as little as, 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe a little more, I don't know, but even the left said, safe, legal, and rare. That's what we wanted to be. Obama said that. Bill Clinton said that. Hillary Clinton said that. We want pro-choice for women, which I don't like because I believe, the opposite of life. I've said this many times. If you look it up, the opposite of life in any thesaurus, when you look for synonyms and antonyms, for those who don't remember school, means opposites. The opposite of life is not choice. The opposite of life is death. So you're either pro-life or you're pro-death. But the pro-death side even said, let's make that rare. Let's make that very rare. Let's make sure it's done safely and so forth. And now it's screw safe, legal, and rare anytime, on demand, at any stage of the entire pregnancy, all the way up to the moment of birth. If that woman says, I don't want it anymore, that doctor's got to carve it up. And I can't get with that. I'm with you, Seth. I mean, I'm sorry. There are some there are some things that are just, we are so far gone, and I don't see a return to, any sense of, what word am I looking for?
Normalcy?
Well, no, but I was going to say, some sort of sense of not negotiation. What am I trying to say?
Compromise.
Meeting in the middle. Compromise is the word. Thank you. See, they taught you well at Ignatius. I don't know if they do anymore, but
no.
Very
Things
well.
have changed over there. Like I didn't think that they would.
Yeah,
and that's another issue. I think that the education system is letting kids down. I mean, I'm scared of what my kids are learning, even in a community like Broadview Heights, because I don't know what they're learning. And I try to be as involved as you can, but you don't know.
You played a series of videos at the beginning there, most of which looked like they were from TikTok.
Yeah.
And if you go on TikTok and browse around, you'll start to see just scores at the time of the year. It's the 14th of August, so school's about to start back up. You're going to see scores of primary grade, elementary school teachers and preschool teachers showing off their newly decorated classrooms with their pride flags, with their trans flags, with their BLM stuff. And nowhere would you ever see a cross anywhere, a Christian cross, but you see all of that crap there. They are welcoming kids into their land of DIE, diversity, inclusion, and equity, and they make no bones about it, because there's nothing anybody's going to do about it. And if a parent complains, you know the drill. The parent goes to the school board to complain. The parent is seen as the bigot or the homophobe or the transphobe or the whatever. And they're deemed to be, according to the Department of Justice, domestic terrorists or domestic extremists. So, yeah, Seth, I'm with you. I know that there are precious few schools still around that are not succumbing to DEI or DIE, as I call it. But the overwhelming majority of them, public and private, including yours, including Ed's, including the two largest all-girls schools. I know because my daughter had a terrible experience at one of them before she left and went back to my alma mater, to Elyria Catholic. But there are a lot of the private Catholic, parochial schools and so forth that are just as woke as the public schools, man. And precious few to choose from unless you choose to homeschool.
I know that when my daughter was young, she was given a gift of Rush Limbaugh for kids books. Rush put out that series of kids books, and she took it to school with her. And the teachers found it, and they started laughing at her and told her not to bring it back to school. And that's not the way you teach kids, and that's certainly not an open mind, and it's certainly pushing down a narrative that I try to keep around my house, and something that I try to teach my kids.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want, and I know you're saying this is a while ago, but with that Rush Limbaugh book, but the Rush Limbaugh book is too offensive to be around kids. But all of the books about gay sex and trans sex, and I'm not talking about books that feature a character in a benign story about something, but I'm talking about the ones with graphic, pornographic literature, descriptions and how-tos, and even graphic illustrations of the acts being done. If you say those don't belong in schools, well, you're a book banner, which is, essentially being called a book burner. You are the one trying to silence, education and information based on your own bigotry. And we're not even talking about, we're just talking about pornography. It doesn't belong in schools. Gay porn, straight porn, no porn. It doesn't belong in schools. We're the book banners, but Rush Limbaugh can't be in there.
I guess my question to you is, where do we go from here? You had a caller this morning. Of course, you're on 9 to noon, WHK 1420. But you had a caller this morning who was talking about a civil war. And I think that seems extreme, but I don't know. But he was talking about black versus white. Now, I don't think that that's true. I think you had a great answer to that. It's not. I think there's a lot of minorities that are on one side and also on the other side. I don't think it's going to be a war between minorities and white people. And I thought it was kind of a weird call to get. But there has to, maybe a civil war is too extreme, but there has to be something. There's got to be a way to correct what's going on.
Well, I think both those things are true. There has to be a way to correct it, and it's not going to be a full-on civil war. At least I hope it's not, armed, battles in the streets of any town America. And if it is, like I told the caller, it's going to be an ideological war, not a racial one, because there are, I don't know, millions of African Americans who are conservative and believers in the rule of law, believers in liberty, believers in unity and communication rather than divisiveness and segregation. And there are a whole lot of white leftists who are the ones who are the rabble rousers out there trying to fire up African Americans to say, look what they're doing to you. Look what those racist Republicans and conservatives are doing to you. They're denying you this, and they foment some of the hatred. So it's not black versus white. There are white, particularly, the Antifa style leftists who are pushing for socialism, Marxism, communism, or some variation of the three that are trying to get blacks riled up. And like I said, there are a lot of blacks who are on the side of conservatism who would battle tooth and nail for the liberty that we all have. I hope it doesn't come to that. But Seth, I mean, I was just telling Chris when your thing was broken up there, I mean, I think we may have crossed a place where there's no coming back from when you talk about abortion, when you talk about the trans stuff, when you talk about trying to deny basic biology, trying to cancel women as existing beings. And that's not an over freaking statement.
Right.
When you say you can't have your own sports, you can't have your own private spaces, like showers without dudes walking in, taking off their towels and flopping in front of them. Which we're finding out from the swimmers who went up against Leah Thomas. That's what he did. They can't have their own privacy. They can't even be called women without putting a cis in front of it. Well, you're a cis woman as opposed to a trans woman. No, there's just women and there's just men. And as far as I'm concerned, anything and everything else is a personality trait.
Right.
You decide how you want to act. You decide what you want to wear. You decide how feminine you want to act. Male or female, you're just a male with feminine traits. I don't care. Or if you're a female with very masculine traits, good on you. Go do you, go be you, but stop trying to tell my kids to be like you. And especially stop trying to tell my kids, when I say my kids, I mean our kids, the children of this country. Stop trying to tell them that if they're born, with XY chromosomes, no, you don't. You're not necessarily a girl. It just depends on how you feel, or a boy. I mean, it depends on how you feel, and we're going to help you feel a different way. I just don't know, Seth, if there's a way to come back from that. That's a it's a time we're all living through right now that when they write the history books of the 22nd century, they're going to look back at the early 2000s and into now, the 2020s. They're going to look back at this time and they're going to say that's when the movement toward complete eradication of all social norms and mores, all of the things that make our culture what it has become, which is the greatest in the history of the world, that's when it all fell apart. Or that was a flashpoint moment where it got so severe that the pushback was intense and we found a way to restore order.
Right.
I just don't know which way the history is going to write it.
Well, and it's hard to figure that out. I mean, there's some, I know for me personally, I would argue we're already in the middle of the Civil War, but the Civil War is not guns this time. Guns is the easy out, but the Civil War is all about data. It's all about data. It's all about data manipulation, and it's all about propaganda. The other side is winning because they're controlling the information, and people don't fight anymore. They've taken that piece away. People don't fight with their fists or bullets or any of that anymore. They fight with their Twitter posts. They fight with their Facebook. They fight with their Instagram. And right now we're losing that battle.
Well, two things. First of all, this one, that's the first response I want to give. Where is it? There he is. Just make sure everybody knows. Because that's the only baseball I would ever support anymore. So if they go back to that, but
that's right.
You're right, Chris, about the intellectual war, the digital war, the war of ideas and so forth, rather than the guns and bullets right now. But don't think that isn't what they're preparing for. Why do you think they continue to come for our guns? Why do you think they continue to try to disarm the population? Mm-hmm. Justin Bibb, the mayor of Cleveland, with his crap before the issue 1 was voted on, he said, first, it starts with voting no on issue 1 to make it really easy to amend the Constitution. Then we get to the amendments and we throw in one that takes away guns, or he says, restores or puts in common sense gun control.
Right.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason why the new push for guns, and it's not about mass shootings. It's about when the quote unquote Civil War happens and when the people have had enough and when their First Amendment rights are taken away, which is very, very quickly happening.
Sure.
The people who want to fight for them are going to need their Second Amendment rights to do it. And that's why they're going to have to limit those and try to remove as much of those obstacles as they can. So, it might not be a battle of, guns and bullets and, war in the streets yet, but they're preparing for the eventuality that it might by making sure that the people are disarmed to the extent that they can.
Absolutely. Well, Bob, I'll tell you what, let's take a little break here so that Seth can once again reboot. And if you can hang through for a minute or two here, we'll play a couple spots. We'll get Seth turned around and we will be right back. So,
hey, Cox Cable, I got a message for you right there.
Amen to that. Everybody hang tight. It is the Seth Williams Show, and we will be back right after this.
Hey, it's Seth, and I appreciate you watching today. And you can make a difference. For just $4.99 a month, you can help save someone's life today. It really does count. Every dollar matters. And you can change someone's life. Not these ridiculous dogs. Those are actor dogs. I'm talking about myself and Chris Aiken. I could barely afford a shave and a haircut, or sleeves on a shirt sometimes. We could use your assistance today. Just go to the Odyssey app. Go to the Odyssey website, ODYSEE. Just $4.99 a month can change the world for someone today. Myself and Chris Aiken. We'll give you extra content. We'll give you bonus footage. We'll give you new episodes. Subscribe to the Odyssey channel today. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's Don Doc, and when I'm feeling nostalgic, I always go to Pinball PA. You gotta go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Stop what you're doing and start making memories at Pinball PA, located at 2284 Broadhead Road, Suite 10B in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. We have over 420 video games and pinball machines to play, and all games are set to free play, so no quarters or tokens are needed. Pinball PA is open 6 days a week, and is the best and most affordable entertainment spot in all of Western Pennsylvania. Check out our website at www.pinballpa.com for more details. Come visit Pinball PA today. Initials up.
Aaron Tees and Signs has become your complete one-stop sign shop. Call Jimmy at 216-299-9344. Their friendly and professional staff can and will help you build your company brand and identity from start to finish. One stop means you get a complete package from one location. Custom logo design, vehicle graphics, banners, t-shirts, storefront marquees, and so much more. Aaron Tees and Signs, 4883 Turney Road. Call us at 216-299-9344. Oh, Seth's not in. Here he is.
There, right back here on the Seth Williams Show, kind of. Not today, maybe. I don't know.
You're here now.
Today. And see, Bob, you caught us on a day where, like I said, I wasn't going to swear, because usually on the show we can swear and do whatever we want to do. And I said, no, I'm going to be respectful toward Bob, and I'm going to not swear. And now I want to swear like I've never sweared before on a show.
When have you ever known me to be respectful?
You were always respectful.
I already dropped an S-bomb on here earlier on. I said something I couldn't say on the radio side. Believe me, I like the freedom that the internet offers sometimes too. So don't worry about it.
What do you think? And I want to ask you about the radio business too, because what do you think about radio business these days? I mean, I know that we're in it, and so I don't want to talk bad about it, because I think where we work is fantastic. But I think what's going on with radio is somewhat bad. I've seen stations around town that I used to love turn to crap. I've seen management and big corporations take over and destroy what used to be good content. Right? And then I've also seen the stuff about the left trying to stop talk radio from going on AM talk radio and pushing it out of cars and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a concerted effort?
Oh, I think it is, but I think that's over. I think they lost. The pushback on that was really, really strong, and it was really, really fast. So I think that the AM radio thing, I think the couple of the car, I think it was even Ford talked about not having them in their, their newer models starting in 2025, AM radios, but that got such a pushback that they retracted that quickly and said, of course, they'll be in there if for no other reason than emergency, broadcasts that are made, of course, always go out over AM radio in the event of, whatever catastrophe, calamity. But bigger picture, yeah. I mean, talk radio is under attack from leftist corporate America, which it always has been. But what we have become, and what Rush started, and what so many have picked up and run with, the tremendous national hosts and a lot of great local hosts too. But they started to give a voice to the voiceless. The people who were forced to watch ABC News Tonight, NBC, CBS, and then, of course, the leftist cable channels, CNN and MSNBC. And, Fox came around 25 years ago and gave that side of it, of course, the opportunity for people to hear things you couldn't hear on one-sided broadcasts. And so what we've become is the last bastion, I think. I mean, and when I say I'm being specific to conservative radio right now, not just the state of radio, but I think of the state of radio overall has also dropped. Quality has dropped immensely. They've cut out major talent in order to get more room for more commercials and more, more nonsense rather than good, communication. But as far as conservative radio, we're more valuable now than ever, and that makes us more of a target than ever. That's why the left, when they go on their cancellation, rushes, they'll say, we got to cancel. They won't come and say cancel, the Dennis Prager show. They'll go to the sponsors, take a look at the sponsor list and say, cancel this one, this one, and this one, and this one. But what they don't count on is that those sponsors know what they're doing. They know what audience they are feeding and that they are reaching. And it matters more to them to reach that audience than to bow down to the cancel culture that are trying to just cut ratings, a little bit, thinking that it'll make them run. I mean, there's an old saying, you remember it from Michael Jordan back at the height of his popularity, when people were saying, my God, Michael, you're the most famous athlete in the world. Why are you not more active in political issues and social causes, advancing the black agenda in America and so forth? And his response was, Republicans buy sneakers too.
Right.
In other words, I don't want to alienate half of the buying public that could buy my Air Jordans that would lead to my multi-billion-dollar empire that he has right now today. Well, he was right. I don't give a shit. Here you go, Seth. I don't give a crap that Democrats buy radio too and buy products too. I'm not going to cater to them to make an extra dollar or to increase a couple of rating points. I'm not going to say things that I know are not true. I'm not going to give voice to it. Let me rephrase that. I'll give voice to it if they've got the guts enough to come on with me, to call me. I mean, I try to call Democratic politicians, elected officials and so forth, and invite them on to debate, discuss, and they run every time. I'll give them the voice. I'll give them the space, and then we'll have it out and we'll talk about it the way it's supposed to, but they won't do that. And I'm not going to get on here and say, maybe let's explore. Maybe there's a reason why we should let little boys think that they might be girls. I'm not going to do it. I know who my audience is. I know what I'm trying to accomplish. I know whatever little I have to offer to the culture war that is going on that I think is going to define the existence of this country. Whatever little bit I have to offer, I owe it to offer. And I'm going to continue to give it, and they can try to silence me. And but I'll be honest with you, Seth. Conservatives know that we are maybe the final frontier, if you will, of free thought that we have to push back against the left-wing media that won't give voices to us anywhere else.
Now,
Bob,
one thing, real quick, one thing I want to say before I forget. I know that you and Triv had a contentious relationship at times, but I want you to know something before I end up losing you again or whatever. that guy, after you left, told me so many different times, listen to France on your way into work. Listen to France on your way into work. And so whatever you guys had as far as him being an ass on the spew and all that kind of stuff, he respected and really did love you as a person and loved what you did for work. And so I just want you to know that he talked about you all the time and was always making sure that I was listening to your show to be informed on what was going on in the world. And so I just want you to know that.
Well, that's hard.
We don't have to talk about that. I understand.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I want you to know that because
I've never really talked about Triv since his passing, to be honest with you, and really much about him even after I left in 2014. And I didn't mind him being an ass on the spew. That was the thing. It was a bit. I mean, we fought because we were supposed to fight. It doesn't mean it was an act. I think he believed everything he said, and I believed everything I said, but I didn't mind the contentiousness of it. That's how it was. I mean, how is it good radio to be all prim and proper and, well, here's what I think. What say you, sir? Let's give you. I mean, I think it was good stuff. The thing with Mike and me that it's kind of hit me a little hard that you said what you just said, because I never knew any of that. Off the air stuff, communication was few and far between. After I got let go by 1100 and one of the many purges that cost a lot of good people their spots there, you found that out yourself later, obviously.
Oh yeah.
I heard from everyone in that building with good wishes and what can I do for you? What can we do to help, and so forth. I heard from everyone in that building except one. Yeah, and that's something that stuck with me. I didn't talk about it. I've never talked about it on the air, on anywhere, radio or otherwise, or online like this. And I didn't hold it against him. Maybe he didn't know what to say. I didn't know what I would have said either, other than, hey, thanks, man. So, it was no harm, no foul, but it was one of those things where I'm like, I don't know really, I never really understood quite how he felt about me, outside of what we would say on the air, but that just kind of hit me a little bit strange. And now that you just kind of brought it up, I don't really have the right words for it. It's just it was just odd. And when he passed away, I was like as shocked and stunned as anybody else was. And maybe not quite as much as anybody else was, because you guys who are super close to him every day, probably hit you a hell of a lot harder than somebody who wasn't as close. But I said my prayers for him, and I continue to do so for the people who love him and loved him, because that was just a horrific loss. And I know it was a loss to the radio listeners of Cleveland too.
Well, I certainly didn't mean to put you on the spot with something like that, but I wanted you to know that I understand everything that goes on in the building, and I understand things that are said and things that are done. And sometimes it's a really shitty business. It's a cutthroat. People talk about you all the time behind your back. And some of the people over there are just some of the worst people. The devil works over there right now. But I know how he felt about you, and I know how much he respected the work that you did. And I know, because honestly, you made a lot more work for me, because I had to listen to you and try to find stuff that you were talking about. And so, it was really, he really did respect you a lot more than I think that he let on. And I want you to know that.
Well, that's very nice of you. And I'll say one other thing about radio, since you asked originally about Radio Bigger Picture. And this is not just to suck up to my bosses. Like I said, it'll be 10 years this January that I've been there. But as well as I do over at the other place, how certain things were managed. We were basically told, Republicans buy sneakers too. In other words, don't be so strong in your beliefs that you're going to piss off the other side. Yes. We were oftentimes told what we could talk about, what we couldn't. And if we did choose to talk about this one, you better make sure that you're giving both sides, blah, blah, blah. I can tell you this, in 10 years or almost 10 years, I have never once been told what topic to talk about, what side to take of it, how to present it, whether or not I had to get somebody on the other side to present the other side. This is a Christian conservative broadcast company, Salem Media is, with Christian conservative broadcast professionals, programmers, and broadcasters. And they know, I have their full backing with anything and everything I choose to talk about, whether it be to the Cleveland audience or the national audiences that I'm able to reach when I do the other shows. And I absolutely love that. That's what it's going to take, honestly, that kind of strength and courage of conviction to say, let these guys talk and let them reach people who need to hear what they have to say, who are only getting what's in the Cleveland Plain Dealer, Washington Post, New York Times, or any of the other crap left-wing rags that are out there. And I love that support.
Do you think that there's enough people with deep pockets around the country, not just here, but around the country, to sustain what's going on, specifically with the censorship and the big tech? Because so much of the big tech, they're absorbing the pieces of the media that they want and using it. Like YouTube as an example. You take YouTube, they want to spew MSNBC, they want to spew CNN, and anytime you go to YouTube, you get just blasted with their bits and bytes of their perception of any situation that's going on today. And I think one of the two big things that we have a problem with today, one, we don't have the lightning rods anymore. You guys both mentioned Rush Limbaugh. I'll say Rush Limbaugh, Howard Stern back in his heyday, any of them. They were a big enough lightning rod where other people could grow in the same shadow. And it wasn't so unified it wasn't so easy to destroy it as it is now because there's no big giant names. And the other thing I think is the biggest scare is the way big tech can manipulate the message now while seeming to most people like they're being quote unquote fair and balanced. And it's really scary how few people realize they're being manipulated until it's too late.
That's a lot there. That's a lot to unpack. If you want, there's a particular part of that you want me to respond to?
Any part you want to jump on?
I think the lack of that single giant name like Rush and Lightning Rod in some ways is good for the business and for what we're doing because people are exploring now. They're exploring. And by the way, Rush's replacement and that slot, they do great work. They're on up against Dennis Prager on our station, who does phenomenal work, who is also on other ones of our Salem stations at the same time slot, Charlie Kirk. If Rush was still there, God rest his soul, and God willing, he was still there. I mean, I hope everybody understands what I'm saying here. But because he's gone and because Howard Stern is a shell of what he was,
right.
More people are exploring and getting more tremendous content from a lot more voices than they ever did before. And I think that's a really great thing. It's a great way to deal with, I guess, let's say, the absence of the big stick that is Rush, and the big giant voice that he was. And it gives guys like me an opportunity too. Like I said, I've done more national radio, reaching hundreds of stations and millions of listeners at a time because of my affiliation here than I ever was able to at the other place where I was. And I don't know that I would be able to do those things if there wasn't such a big appetite for more conservative talk radio and more new, fresh voices. I mean, not that I'm fresh. I'm not 23 anymore. I'm in my 50s, but I mean, in terms of new sound and new opinions and new, views on things and ways to explain things that people in other places have never heard before. So, as far as those big giant voices, not casting giant shadows, like I said, I think there's a two-way street. We miss those big voices and we miss particularly Rush, but man, I'm able to hear more great thought leaders now than I ever could before.
And see, that's what I love about your show, though, Bob, is that I think on a station that has a lot of good content with Charlie Kirk and Sebastian Gorka and stuff like that, you outshine everybody because not only are you local and you're live, but you have content that people care about. And you do speak your mind. You do tell it the way that it is, and you don't pull any punches. And I think that that's what this town needs. And I think that, they got to listen to you. I mean, that's where to go now. I mean, you're the guy to listen to in this town. And I think I'm happy to be a part of it, but I'm excited that you're on. And that's what radio needs is more people like you, not Clay and Buck. Look, they do all right. It is what it is. But they need more people like you in radio.
Well, first of all, I heard from accounting yesterday, I can't get you a raise. So you can try all you want there, man, but my hands are tied there. I can't.
I just started. I'm not kissing your ass. I've known you for 20 years. So, I love it, but I think radio does need more people like you.
I appreciate that. And I take that honestly very seriously. And whether it's true or not is a matter of opinion. I mean, there are people in this town who wouldn't listen to me for 5 seconds if somebody paid them to do so because they hate my point of view. And even if they agree with my point of view, oh, he's too abrasive. I mean, I've got one word in my Twitter bio that I want people to know. It's really, really important. And that word is unfiltered. I don't filter things. I mean, I withhold certain language, obviously, as we're talking about, that we're able to get away with, here on a podcast. But beyond that, there's no filter. I'm going to give you my unvarnished opinion. And what makes it, I think, valuable to a lot of people, as I've learned over the last, 10 years in particular, is that they know my opinions are grounded in research and fact. I do my homework. I don't just sit around, read the sports page for an hour and then get like, people used to do and that kind of, and then get on the air and just talk about, who ought to be batting second. I do a lot of homework, both present day and historical research on what's going on, so that when I give my opinions, they have some sort of credibility. And from what I'm told by people in various, appearances that I make, speeches that I give, and people who do say things like you just said, being a voice for conservatism in Cleveland or Northeast Ohio, I take that responsibility seriously. I don't want people to be thinking that about me, and then for me to come in half-assed, half prepared, only knowing half of the story or half of the stories that are right now in the cycle. So I do take it seriously, and it's nice of you to say that. And I know you're only going to add a hell of a lot to what I'm able to bring, honestly. I mean,
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I hope that I can. So
yeah, I know you will.
But I mean, I didn't even know where else to go. I'm so frustrated when I listen every day to the show, and I listen to what's going on. I listen to the stuff that's happening, not even just in Ohio, but across the country. I listen to a guy who is our president. Well, not my president, but who said he has no comment on the death toll rising in Hawaii when there's people burning to death. And he was on a beach relaxing, and when he was asked about it, he said no comment.
Yeah, a beach where he has spent roughly 50% of his presidency. I mean, seriously, he has been on vacation for 40 some odd percent of the days that he's been president. It's unbelievable how they used to talk about Nero fiddling while Rome burned. This guy is tanning while Hawaii burns. And he doesn't care and has not said enough. All he's thinking about, I'm sure, is the fact that the pieces are coming together. The puzzle pieces are in that great big jigsaw puzzle with Hunter Biden and his brother Jim Biden and the other family Bidens, and all of the stuff that's they're finding out about their corrupt activities overseas. All of this stuff is coming together. So I think, truthfully, he's looking for an exit ramp. I don't think he wants to be president for another 4 years. I think he absolutely wants to get out of this. He wants to try to beat the rap on all of this stuff and then coast into a retirement. And that's and I think he better think that, because there's no way they can prop his Weekend at Bernie's corpse up there at the podium any longer and watch it babble and then drag him from one side of the stage to the other and move his arms up and down. I mean, I'm being a little silly, obviously, but that's what it looks like.
True. Yeah.
I want to go back. No, go ahead. I wanted to go back to something you said a minute ago about YouTube. One of you guys said about YouTube, and places like that. I wrote a song a couple of months ago called "Hunters in the Basement." I was inspired by a meme you probably have seen, and you could probably even throw it up on your screen if I give you a little bit of advance notice. But it was a meme of Joe and Hunter side by side, and it had the one lyric from Harry Chapin, Cats in the Cradle, that said, I forget which lyric it was, but it's something like, and as he grew, he had become just like me, and my boy was just like me. I think that's the lyric in the meme that they had on there. And I just saw it and I thought, oh my God, how perfectly true. And so just on a freaking whim, I popped open a laptop at my kitchen table and I looked up the lyrics to Cats in the Cradle, and I pasted them down on an Excel sheet, and then I went to call them over, and I just wrote a corresponding line with the same number of beats, yeah, there it is. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me he'd grown up just like me, but thank you. Good. Well done. You got a team there, brother. That's awesome. So I said, let's take that meme to the next level. Let's do the whole damn song. So I wrote a song, and I had Dale Officer, who is a phenomenal voice talent, and I knew he could sing like that because I've heard some of his other bits in his other work. And I said, Dale, can you do Harry Chapin? And he said, I'll give it a shot. And then he brought in Johnny Hiles, who did like the Hunter portion of the vocals when they got that way. And it was pretty damn good.
Brilliant.
I may say. And I put it online, and then Charlie, who I think who's watching this podcast right now, the politically incorrect mechanic, texted me and said, hey, I'm going to put that on YouTube with, of course, your permission. And I said, no, don't. And he said, why? And I said, because they're going to censor it. They're going to cancel it. Don't even bother. And if anything, they're going to look to cause trouble for me. And so he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah. I mean, hell, YouTube censors Dennis Prager's, PragerU, for crying out loud, which are 5-minute animated cartoon videos bringing information to light that they don't want young kids to know. They censor that stuff. So my point being, and by the way, that song has gone like mega viral. I posted the video of it, and then I took the video down because I got the idea if people want this on their phones, they could put it in their playlist. They can download the MP3.
Sure.
It cost a little bit of money to do that. And so we're selling it for 99 cents on the webpage at WHKradio.com. I figured if people are watching the video, they're not going to buy the download. So I took the video down, but it was too late. It has been viewed millions of times across Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and I'm missing one. But whatever. In fact, somebody messaged me a couple of days ago and said, did you get any word that your video / song has been viewed 58 million times? And I said, no. I said, what are you talking about? And he sent me a screenshot of the search for it. And then up above it in like faint lettering or whatever, it said 58.3 M views.
Wow.
58.3 now, and I have no way to verify that. I've searched it out myself to see, how that could be. I do know that it got more than 2 million views on one guy's Instagram account alone. He took it and posted it and shared it as one of his own. I think it's David Harris Jr. or something like that, and it got 2 million views just from his account alone. Does that mean we're done?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that was shut up where this podcast.
No, it's just me.
But anyway, my point is, I didn't want to send it out there to the whole world like that. Once I decided I could try to make $1 off it and actually use, capitalism, something the left hates here. And actually the song got popular. I'm going to sell it for 99 cents a pop. But the big picture there was, it did make it onto YouTube on certain accounts, but it has also been pulled. Somebody sent me blocked, cancel, block. It has been pulled down, and every single copyright matter that could be even thought of has been cleared because I ran this through legal to make sure everything was good, that I was not, doing anything actionable. And the reality is they're taking it down anyway, not because of copyright violations or things like that, because they don't want something that makes Joe Biden and Hunter Biden look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it is being censored. I mean, go to TikTok. You'll find it on a few accounts. It's been viewed 7,000 times there, 10,000 times there, 3,000 times there. But then you're going to see removed, blocked, taken down, whatever, in a ton of spaces because the censors that don't want the American people to see anything that remotely makes the left look bad, they're doing everything they can to block it.
Bob,
so that's just an example.
One, the song is brilliant, so people find it and download it. For pay the money,
It's $1. It's 99 cents, and it's at WHKradio.com if you want to put it on your phone. What's cool about it, Seth, is I actually have Cats in the Cradle in my playlist on my phone, and I have my song on there too. So I've just got the shuffle on, and it's here's Escape, here's Journey or something, and here's Led Zeppelin or whatever. And then bang, here comes our song, and it's just kind of fun. And
well,
you know what?
It is really great.
Every time.
But an example with us when it comes to YouTube, we had a guy on who I've talked to numerous times. He's a friend. He's a pastor, and he believes that the earth is flat, and he has literally 100 notebooks filled with pages and pages and pages of NASA photos and paintings, all this different stuff that he claims to be proof of the earth being flat. He has Bible passages. He has all kind of different things. We did a 2-hour show with him. Chris's account was canceled.
Yeah, 6,000 videos. 6,000 videos wiped out. Boom.
Wait. Not just that interview canceled, your whole account?
My whole channel done.
Was shut down because they claimed to be misinformation.
Yeah.
I've gotten flagged on Spotify, on YouTube, on Facebook. Every time that I bring up, I can't even say the word vaccine for the most part without getting flagged on these channels. And God forbid I tell the truth of what happened in my own family, of stuff that I saw when it came to the vaccine, because we get flagged, we get shut down immediately. Whatever they do, they're watching. Whatever we do, they're watching. And if it doesn't fit the agenda, they will shut it down. His entire channel with thousands of videos.
6,500 videos done.
Well, here's what I'll say. I didn't see the 2-hour video or an interview about the earth being flat, but it is misinformation. But who cares? I mean, that's
his opinion.
Right. You're allowed to express your opinion. And if somebody hears that and says, this guy's full of crap, you know what they can do? Click and turn it off. And if they really don't like the fact that somebody said that and they want to prove them wrong, they can do a little research on their own and say, see, here's why it isn't. Here's why you can fly one direction from Cleveland and fly west and somehow end up back in New York when you circle the whole damn globe because it is round. Somebody can do that if they want to. It is nobody's responsibility, job, or in my opinion, that no one should have the right to shut somebody else up because they say something that they disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
It's an opinion.
We give opinions, are allowed to have them. Last time I checked, but I don't think that's happening in this country anymore. I think that's another thing that's being taken away. You talked about the whole pronoun thing in Michigan. We're going to go to jail for speech sometime soon.
Yeah.
And it's scary to think about.
Well, you see my pronouns on the screen, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, but Seth, that's why what I said to Chris before about, the whole, whether it's going to be guns and bullets and stuff in the Civil War that's coming here. That is literally what we're talking about here. It's why we need the Second Amendment rights to be upheld, because our First Amendment rights are under serious jeopardy or in serious jeopardy. And if we fight for those back, I mean, it may look, I promise you that in 1750, nobody in the colonies was thinking, we should probably start gathering up the weapons. We might have to fight these SOBs. They didn't think that, but by the time 1776 came around, a whole bunch of very brave guys said, actually, yeah, we do. We're being starved out. We're being frozen out. Or we're being taxed to death. We can't even keep our own money. We need independence from this tyranny. Nobody ever thought it was going to have to happen, but then it had to happen. And it became what we now know as the Revolutionary War and the greatest cause for war in history. I'm not a fan of war, but sometimes you go to war for a reason that is much bigger than can be solved with words. And what I mean is, in a case like that, the survival of the colonies and the expansion into the new country demanded war. When Hitler went into Poland, when he started ravaging across Europe and started the extermination of Jews and other undesirables as he saw them, when Japan, of course, hit us in Pearl Harbor, there was a very good reason for war. I don't want there to be war. I don't think any of us ever wants to have to go into another war again. But damn it, if we're not armed up in preparation for that, then we guarantee war. It's just that it'll be a very quick and one-sided one because we'll get crushed, we'll get destroyed, whether it be by the Chinese or the Russians or our own government, as far as we know. If you aren't prepared for war and armed up for war, then you will be the victim of war, and you will have nothing left to fight back with. So,
well, didn't Biden say, what do you need your guns for? We have planes and bombs.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Well, if that's how you feel about it, then why do you care if we have guns?
There you go.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna turn the full force of the American military on us with air campaigns and everything else, then why do you care if we got our own little pea shooters here? How about you just let us defend ourselves?
Justin Bibb's going to take him in a month anyways, or a couple of months.
Yep, that's his plan.
No, he's not. He may order it, but he ain't getting them.
You know what? But you know what? If he does, and the left in the state of Ohio does, it's going to be the responsibility and the fault of a lot of very, very, in my view, ignorant and negligent conservatives, because there were conservatives who refused to come out and fight for issue one, to raise that threshold to 60%, so that if everybody says it's just about abortion, it is about abortion in November. It is about so much more than that going forward. Did you see the FOP? You know how I am with police. I mean, I've got a TV show that I do, which I want to promote if I can in a moment, about on cops and policing. And you know how I am, and I've got great friends in the FOP. I got great friends in the CPPA. The FOP endorsed no on issue one because of bargaining rights and some other things, union stuff. And I'm looking at the FOP. I'm saying, you realize what you're going to do here? If they keep this, they have already laid out a big list of priorities to use the amendment process for the Ohio Constitution instead of the legislature. And one of them is they're coming for qualified immunity for cops. They want to be able to sue individual cops, not just police stations, take their houses from them, kill their families, incomes and so forth if a cop makes a mistake, or even if he doesn't, but the civilian review board and then a jury says that the cop made a mistake, their life is gone. Their livelihoods are gone. Their property is gone. And guess what happened, Seth? 2 days after last Tuesday, it was last Thursday, I saw the actual draft of a constitutional amendment that is being put forth to remove qualified immunity from first responders in the state of Ohio.
Jeez.
So there is an agenda that's coming. So is coming for our guns, like Justin Bibb laid out. They're gonna come with an amendment that is going to be very, very, strong on gun control and very, very hard on Second Amendment rights. There's just no two ways about it. There is an agenda here, and conservatives in this state, and including in Northeast Ohio, they bailed on us. The Ohio Roundtable, the AP Roundtable, a very strong, good conservative organization, argued and fought against issue 1. There are elected officials or former elected officials who are pro-life, who did not fight for issue 1, did not say a word, did not endorse or oppose. And those people are going to be responsible for a lot of the devastation if this amendment process, weak as it is, leads to all of those different things that they have laid out on the agenda already.
Do you think that gun specifically, Second Amendment, is the hot button that would push it over the? I do. I think if they tried to, and I've said this on the show, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Bibb can say anything he wants. To come get my gun, there's the spot he's got to hit to get it. Because there's no way would I give up my gun for any reason. I don't really care what they say legally. I'm not giving it up no matter what. And I think most gun owners are the same way with that. Yeah. Do you think that if they really made a hard turn against the Second Amendment, that would be the lightning rod issue that starts violence in the streets?
I don't think it'll start violence, but I think it will unify and bring together all of the gun owners and all of the Second Amendment rights people you're talking about. Yeah, but all it would do though is defeat an amendment. If they put one up there like Bibb was talking about that's going to restrict in any way, shape, or form our rights to own our guns, it will defeat it, but it won't stop the movement. They'll continue to come back with another one, or they'll come back to the legislature. They'll try to do something in order to do that. I don't think they'll ever stop, which is why, of course, we wanted to, as long as we have control of the legislature, gun rights in the state of Ohio are going to be respected.
Right.
If we lose control of the legislature, that's a different story. I don't see that happening anytime soon, which is why they want to go to the amendment process. And it's why gun owners and gun rights advocates, rather, were all very vocal about yes on issue 1, because they know defeating that by making it a 60% threshold would have been good for all of our rights, our Second Amendment rights. But so they're going to keep coming after it by way of the amendment process, since they have no say in the legislature.
Right.
Go ahead,
Seth.
Why is the left so much smarter than us? I mean, when I say that, I mean it in jest, of course, but like they're going to package this abortion legislation in November with marijuana smoking. And so you're going to get all these people out there, including a lot of conservatives that want to sit down and smoke a bowl at night. They're going to get them out there to vote for this, thinking that we're going to legalize marijuana. Oh, by the way, we're going to start killing babies at 9 months. I mean, they package things, they do things, they advertise the right way. Why aren't we doing the right things? It's very frustrating. We have committee after committee, nothing gets done in Washington. The conservatives seem to be somewhat lazy at this point.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it laziness. I do think there is a strategy battle that we fall short on a lot of times. I think we have the right position on things, but we don't have the right strategy for getting them advanced. And quite frankly, I do think that, and I don't want to debate the presidential politics today when we talk about Trump and the deep state and so forth. I'm sorry for the distraction, by the way. I spilled my Chief Wahoo cup of iced tea on my on my desk here. So I'm cleaning it up as we speak. Thank God it missed the keyboard, so that's good.
Really.
So there are a lot of rhinos, and I know that's such a lazy answer, and it's the low-hanging fruit. But it's reality. I mean, conservatives, if the entire Republican Party voted as conservatives and not Republicans, which there is a difference, both in the Congress in D.C. and in the State House, there's nothing that we can't do, because we are a center-right country. There are more conservatives, I believe, in this country, but there are far too many rhinos that kind of diffuse, or what's the word I'm looking for? boy, I'm struggling with my own vocabulary here. I hate when I do that. I'm an English teacher, for crying out loud. But they kind of split off and separate the mission. And that's why we don't get more done than we should. I think the conservative appetite is there, but there are too many rhinos pretending to be one of us that when it comes time to a vote, they vote, Republican instead of conservative, which
like our own governor. Yeah.
Like our governor. Yeah. I mean, he's a perfect example. What did he do on issue 1? He issued about, a month before the actual vote, he issued an endorsement of yes on issue 1. It was like a statement that was released, like a press release or something like that. And that was it. Did he go from town to town? Did he give speeches? Did he talk about the importance? Did he get out there and get the message so that Ohio centrists and moderates understand why it's important to side on the yes side of this whole thing? No, he did not. He did nothing, even though he himself is a moderate, a rhino. He did nothing to go out there and advance the cause. So he's one of the ones I was talking about when I said they're the reasons why, if we lose a Second Amendment battle in the amendment process, if we lose the abortion battle in November, if we lose the qualified immunity or any of those things, it's guys like him who are gonna bear the brunt of the blame.
So you had your viral moment with your 58 million views on your song. I had
Maybe.
14,000 of me yelling at the Governor DeWine. So it's not really close, but I did yell at him one day about the mask issue because he was a dick on that. But I just don't like the guy. I haven't liked the guy for a very long time.
Well, what I don't like about him is that he's a coward, because I had him on early in the COVID situation. I want to say like April of 2020. So it was like, right after the 2 weeks to flatten the curve a little bit and all of the crap started to roll out. I called him out on so much of the crap that Amy Acton, his health director, was spewing. And I did. It was on live radio on WHK. I would not let him dodge. So many of these politicians, they get on, they'll get asked a question by the interviewer and they'll answer a different question. And then they'll drag that out and filibuster until the point of, because most of the time, just a little inside baseball, the media schedulers for the elected officials that we have on as guests, they'll say he's got to be out by X time. You can have 12 minutes with him. He's got another interview waiting. He's got a meeting, this, that. So they'll try to filibuster to the end of their time without having to answer the real questions. And so in the course of trying to get the answers, you have to interrupt sometimes. And it's rude, but you don't want to be rude, but you want to get the next question in and you want to get him back on task. Well, I did that with him and I kept him. I only had him for like 14 minutes, but I kept him for like 34 because I just would not let him off the hook. And I made sure he answered this and then I kept bringing him back to it. Well, guess what? That was April of 2020. This is August of 2023. So for over 3 years now, every call we make to Governor DeWine's office requesting interview is not a chance. And that to me is cowardly.
He yelled at me on the air and said that he didn't say what he said, but we had the clip of it. We had the clip of him talking about 4 to 6 weeks with the masks. And
I remember that. Yeah, I saw that. And I think I shared it on social. Where you played the clip of him. I do remember that, Seth. Yes. So you took him to task, which is why he'll never come back on. Now, no. Husted, I had Husted on, I think twice during that period. He came on, I yelled at him. I challenged him aggressively on these policies once, and he was at least gutsy enough to come back on a second time, but not since then. But guess what? He's going to be running for governor. It's already been virtually announced. Watch and see how quickly he comes back. Watch how quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and he'll put all that stuff from COVID behind him and so on and so forth. But yeah, I just can't stand Republicans who are too cowardly to lead. They're supposed to be conservatives. They're elected overwhelmingly by conservatives, but is there loyalty to the conservative voters? Nope. It's to the Republican establishment donors.
Well, Bob, I can't thank you enough for coming on today, and we kept you so long. I feel bad because I know you have a family and stuff that you take care of.
Yeah, my wife, I think, has texted me 14 times in the last 30 minutes. Are you almost done?
Sorry, done? I apologize. But
no, but let me take 2 more minutes just to promote something if I can.
Please.
I've hosted 2 seasons now of a streaming television show on the True Blue network, True Blue Factual Streaming, which, by the way, enormous news. True Blue is about to become a FAST channel, which FAST is free ad-supported television. It's going to be on Roku. It's going to be on, I think, Peacock and Pluto and a few other ones. It's going to be enormous. Anyway, We have Chris. You remember Chris Hansen taking down Predators on NBC for years? Well, he now does that for us. He does that on True Blue. It's called Takedown with Chris Hansen. He's busting would-be child molesters and predators left and right. It's hugely popular. I host a show on True Blue, or I have been called True Blue Today, in which we talk about policing, criminal activity, the criminal justice system. It's very informative and it's very good. It's also over now after 2 seasons, because starting in October when the Fast Channel launches, and I just want people to be on the lookout for True Blue, and it's no E's. It's TRUBLU. True Blue, no E's on the end of True or Blue. Be on the lookout, because I'm going to be starting a new interview program called Deeper Dive with Bob Frantz. And it's going to be long form interviews, kind of like what we've just done, with newsmakers, with entertainers, with athletes, with politicians, with just about everybody. And it's something it's going to be, like I said, long form, 90-minute interview, maybe 2-hour interviews, covering so much of like what we just did, a lot of different things. So if you've got, if you would, like I said, just kind of keep your eyes open. Come October, I'll be announcing more of it for True Blue on any one of your streaming services. So this will be free. Right now, True Blue is $4.99 a month to get the shows that I was just talking about. But come October, it'll be on a fast channel. It'll be a fast channel, and you'll be able to watch it for free. It'll have ads, and it's a show called Deeper Dive with Bob Frantz. So write it down, jot it down on a notebook, save it in your phone, or write it on the inside of your underwear band. But make sure you can find it somewhere in October, so you remember to look for it. That's all I got.
That's awesome, and of course, AM 1420, 9 to noon, Monday through Friday. And, I'm excited to be working with you. So
we're so glad to have you, man. We're so glad to have. Now you work with me, brother. You're going to be a huge part going forward of what we do. I have no doubt you were a huge part of radio on that other station for so long, and we're going to take advantage of your talents. Be ready to be worked like a ready mule, though, because we're gonna take advantage of what you offer, man. Okay, we're not.
I am more than ready, my friend. I'm more than ready.
Well, thanks.
Thank you for coming on today, man. And I will not talk to you tomorrow, but I will talk to you on Wednesday, I guess.
Well, it looks good. I look forward to that. Chris, good talking to you, brother. I appreciate
nice to
it.
talk to you, man.
I'd love to have you guys. We'll do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks, Bob.
Guys. You got it.
All right. Talk to you later. Thanks. Man, that was good. That was entertaining, man. And I'll tell you what, the reaction from the audience has been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
I'm glad that I only crapped out
twice.
Well, one and a half, because we took a break. So it wasn't really twice. It was like 1.5. So technically, I wasn't missing anything except for the one time.
I'm just glad that I was able to just go, okay, well, let's move forward. You know, just keep on going instead of being like, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what. If it goes out again, I'm just ending the show for the night. So I'm just beyond pissed, and I think that was fun anyways.
That was.
And then Tony Masasha is calling me, like in the middle of the show. We have a restaurant reporter that doesn't know when we're actually on doing a show. He said he was going to be at the feast, the Little Italy thing, and going to send us videos.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not cutting up the show. I'm going to just post the entire damn thing because it would take me 8 years. With the internet connection that I have, I'll be downloading Bob Frantz's interview until next Monday when we do the show again.
Right.
So the entire show will be posted at some point tonight.
All right, that's good.
And you know what happened? Also, my mouse died in the middle of talking, so then I couldn't do anything with that.
That's
so
funny.
I have a mouse plugged in. I told my entire family to get off the internet.
Well, it seems to work now. Now your internet's great.
Oh yeah, now we're good. I can talk. I can do 3 more shows now. It'll be fine.
It's funny. But yeah, Bob was fantastic, man. That was fun.
Yeah, that was good. I appreciate him taking all that time. I didn't mean to keep him that long. I mean, that's not what I intended.
Yeah, he seemed like he was more than happy to talk.
Yeah, he is really, really good at what he does. And
yeah.
You know, that other station, like you said, I mean, they were just stupid to get rid of him. I mean, they do this stupid crap where they get rid of talent. I mean, what the hell are you thinking? I know the one guy over there right now wanted to get rid of Triv. He just couldn't do it because of money.
Right.
But, I mean, that's the kind of people that they are. I mean, they want to get rid of talent. For what reason? You're going to get rid of a guy like Bob Frantz and put somebody in there who doesn't know what day it is.
Dude, that is the history.
Underwear is my underwear is older than the guy they put in to replace Bob Frantz.
Dude, but that's the history of Clear Channel. Clear Channel's been doing that as long as me and you were at Clear Channel. How many talented people, you were there a lot longer than me, but how many talented people did you see get fired?
I saw a ton. I saw a ton of people. And Bob is one of those that shouldn't have gone anywhere, and they made a huge mistake when they got rid of him. And I think he was doing 9 to noon when I first started in that building. I was still working for MMS, and he was doing 9 to noon. He had Goldman as a producer. Goldman was one of the most brilliant guys you're ever going to meet, and he was one hell of a producer. But he's crazy. He's a crazy person, but he was brilliant, and that's why he was probably crazy. But it was a great show, and then all of a sudden it was like Jerry Springer was on. And you're going, what the hell are you doing? Right. And they put Bob at night, and Bob did great at night. But then with all the Indians and Cavs and stupid
he's
bullshit.
on once a week.
Right. I mean, you're putting a guy with that kind of talent in a situation where you're having baseball games, 162 of them.
Yeah.
And then Cavs games, 81 of them. When's the guy on?
Yeah. Like
and that guy
twice a
has
week
too much. He has got too much talent to do post-game crap for sporting events. And so I'm glad that he found a good place to go, and I'm really happy to be a part of it, to be honest.
Absolutely. And I mean, dude, it's always been that way, though. I know the other piece that I have always hated about Clear Channel specifically, but I'll be honest, I'll say CBS as well, because they fired me too. Same sort of deal. The loyalty level is absolutely none. You know, when I was doing the metal show and we got fired from MMS, the reason we got fired was because they fired Matt, who was the web guy, and they were going to some corporate website thing. So Matt's position got eliminated. It wasn't because he was doing a bad job or anything. It was just they eliminated his position to go with whoever the corporate Clear Channel or Clear Channel person was that was doing all the. Remember when they had that big shift from everybody having their own website to then it became Clear Channel /WMMS or Clear Channel /WMJI, or remember that?
Yeah.
Well, Matt was the victim of that. They fired Matt. Then they reach out to me and say, well, would you want to still do your show but without him? And I was like, he brought me into this.
Right.
You know, he brought me into this. You guys fucked him, and I was trying to go the whole show, they literally asked me to betray my friend that brought me into commercial radio in Cleveland.
Yes.
And it was
There's no loyalty at all. None at all.
None. No, they didn't even look at me like that might have been wrong. It's crazy.
Is Bob's show recorded for podcast? Can't listen at 9 a.m. Yes, it is. Will be podcast. I'm still learning how to do that. It's funny. I do a podcast and I podcast the podcast, but there it's a little bit different. So I'm still learning how to do that. But somebody will podcast the show. Yes, it's podcast every day, so you can go back to WHK. You can listen to Bob's show whenever you want.
I'll see if I can't figure out the RSS feed for it, and I'll put it on the Seth Williams Show page.
That'd be cool.
If you're going to be on it, why not? It's the Seth Williams Show. It's your show.
Yeah, see? Look.
So we'll put it on there.
But yeah, you're right. There's zero loyalty, and and I'm not even complaining so much about that because, when it comes to money, I realize that they don't want to pay, and that's one thing, I guess. But at what point do you say, all right, we're just stupid? Because if you pay a little bit more, it pays off in the long run.
Yeah.
So you may have to pay a little bit more for talent, but it pays off in the long run with commercials, with sponsors, with everything else. It pays off. I mean, Triv got paid a lot of money. Why? Because he brought in a ton of money. The same thing goes with people like Bob Frantz. He's good at what he does, so he will bring in money to you. So you pay him. Pay the man.
Right.
You pay the guys on the Guardians or whatever you want to call them, because if they hit home runs, they bring people to the stands. You're making money off them, so you pay them what they deserve.
Mm-hmm. But radio is I'll tell you where this all falls apart, though, dude. And you may disagree, you may not. The problem with radio is there's too many guys that are willing to do it for no money.
Well, that's just it.
That's there's not enough guys that'll stand up and say, you know what, I'm not doing it for $50 a shift. There's way too, and you've known a million. You did 20 years,
25.
right? 25
24.
years, 24 years. you saw 500 guys that were willing to take $50 a shift just so that they could put on their MySpace or Facebook page that they're a DJ at WMMS or WTAM.
Without a doubt. I mean, look, at this point in my life, I wish I was making a lot more money than I am.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I love what I do. And I'm hoping that it goes further and I can continue to progress at this station and make more money. But you're right. I mean, there are people out there that are just willing to do it for next to nothing.
Yeah.
So.
For status, there's so many people that are willing. The ones that always get me are the guys that they get hired in and they do and I know we're pulling the curtain back probably more than we're supposed to, but the people that come in and they'll voice track 2 weeks worth of stuff in an 8-hour day. And they'll literally take $150 to voice track 2 weeks worth of programming for 8 stations for $150. It's like, come on, pay these guys what they're worth. Make them a personality so that people can't wait to turn it on. Bob doing his show on WHK. I guarantee you, I have no idea of ratings because I'm out of that world kind of. But let's just say Bob has 100,000 listeners because it's probably more, but let's say he has 100,000 listeners that listen to him every day from 9 to noon. Probably half or more are going to be waiting to hear him.
Oh, yes.
They're not just tuning in because it's what's on the radio. They're tuning in to hear him. And for some reason, programmers never see that. Radio programmers always just seem to think, well, we'll just stick another body in there. And it's like, you learn real fast, and you know this as somebody that did this work. When you put on a best of, you get no listeners.
Oh, yeah.
None. And it's like, well, wait a minute, it's still the same programming. It's still the same guy even. But the minute you say, hey, it's the best of Mike Trivisano, off. People turn it off and you get 1/5 of the numbers, which just goes to prove that the personalities drive money.
Yes. Without a doubt. No doubt at all. We got to take a break. We haven't taken one of them forever. So thanks to Bob again for coming on. You said thank you for having it. I can't thank Bob enough for coming on.
Yeah, no kidding. That was great.
So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back in just a couple and talk about what's coming up on Wednesday.
All right, cool.
Hang on.
It is time to save America and stop funding woke corporations. Shop with merchants that share your values today. Get all the great products you buy online anyway from Mammoth Nation. Visit the online store today at us.cmspn.com and save money while helping to fend off enemies of our way of life. We can't expect change until we make changes ourselves. Shop Mammoth Nation today.
Are you looking for a way to support the Seth Williams Show? Get your Seth Williams Show merchandise today. From coffee mugs to clothing and everything in between, our high-quality merch is the perfect way for you to not only support the show, but show everyone what is the greatest show going today. Just go to shop.thesethwilliamsshow.com now, shop around, and buy some great merchandise from the Seth Williams Show. Shop today.
What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's, where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious, and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last. Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's Flags serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick Flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.
Right back here on the Bob Frantz Show. The Seth Williams Show. People love Bob, man. It was amazing. I kept looking at the number and going, yep, bloop, 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 bloop.
That's
People
good.
love Bob, and that's good. That's awesome. So, again, appreciate him coming on.
Absolutely.
But that was fun. And again, the reaction was great. Scott says, I think my mouse is working. Yeah, there you go. You better play more sound effects than you did before, Seth. Bob plays a lot of his own stuff.
Does he do it from a studio or does he do it from home?
Well, I don't want to get into the. He has his own private studio, if you will.
Okay.
Where he does his stuff. So he.
Okay.
But yeah, he's man. I'll tell you, one of the hardest working guys that I've ever seen in radio, as far as prep is concerned.
Sure.
I will say this. I felt bad sometimes for his producers because he'd come in and say, "Okay, I need this, print it out, print this out." Because he knows what he wants. And that's how I've always said the best guys in radio are not crazy, but they're that alpha mentality because they know what they want, they know how to do it, and it needs to get done.
Sure.
And my job as a producer is to make sure that it gets done.
Right.
And that's why Triv would yell at me a lot because sometimes things didn't get done.
Right.
But that's my job, is to make sure that everything is going well and happy for the host of the show.
Yeah,
but they would have stacks of paper like this.
Sure. The host of the show doesn't even want to look for a paper. He just wants to be able to go, here it is. You know, it just needs to be in front of him. No matter, you have to almost be a mind reader to be a great producer. You have to be a mind reader as much as you have to be organized because you have to know where he's going.
I finally got my shit together when it came to the last show, when I realized, what am I doing? If he's asking for something and I can't find it, who cares?
Yeah.
Just make it happen. Make it happen. That's the goal. Make it happen.
Right.
And so, first time caller Jim, who I love dearly, yes, Jim, would give Triv a story at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. And Triv would call me and say, hey, find this story. And I'd look for 6 hours and there would be nothing on it. Nothing. The story doesn't exist.
Right.
And so finally I would just say, all right, enough. And I wrote up a story that was what Jim told him about. And then I made it up. I had it recorded. And then I put it in front of him and said, here you go. New story. It's on button number 1. Yes. 14 aliens came down, abducted the Cavaliers, and sexually prodded them. That's the story you wanted. It happened. It's on button number 1.
There you go.
Because my job is to just make it happen. Don't ask questions. Just do it.
And the worst thing that could happen during his show is if he was like, hey, where's that story about? And then everybody's fumbling around looking for it.
Yeah. Now, sometimes he would screw with Carmen and just say, find this story, and he knew that it didn't exist. And Carmen would, what? Do I know? It's Saturday, isn't it? He would have no idea what to do. But that's what makes a good host like Bob.
Sure.
Like being prepared, knowing what they want, being educated on it, and getting it done. Wednesday.
Yes.
For all the people that call me a racist and a horrible person.
Okay.
We are going to have Khalid Namar on. Khalid Namar from Americans for Prosperity in Ohio. We're going to talk about the city of Cleveland. I was joking when people call me a racist. Jim calls me a Nazi.
Right.
So I apologize. But Khalid Namar is actually, I met him recently, and he's a very good guy.
Okay.
And we'll talk a little bit about what the failing, I guess, of issue 1 means. And we'll talk
now,
about
what is his organization again?
Americans for Prosperity, Ohio. And he is the grassroots engagement director.
And what do they do? Do you know? Do you know what they
that I'm going to have
do?
to look into, but you can go to americansforprosperity.org. Americansforprosperity.org. I'm sorry. See, Jim corrected me. Not a racist, a Nazi. All right. Thank you, Jim. So he will be on Wednesday to talk about the city of Cleveland. Zach Reed is going to be on in the next couple of weeks.
All right.
As well. Former city councilman. Now he works with the administration.
With what administration? The Cleveland administration?
Mayor Bibb administration.
Oh. So no comment, no comment, no comment, no comment.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a lot out of Zach. And he has basically told me that, but I want to catch up with Zach just to see how he's doing. Because some of these guys, I talked to Polensik off the air today and said hi to him, Mike Polensik, city council guy. Polensik and I have always gotten along.
Sure.
Polensik is an old school Democrat.
Okay.
And so he is from the generation of Democrats who had a head semi-screwed on.
Mm-hmm.
He's okay. You can talk to him and have a conversation. You may disagree with some of his points, but he still is you're able to understand him.
Right.
And you can have a discussion without yelling and screaming and losing your mind and thinking that everything is going to go crazy. So, unlike Zach. But I just want to catch up with Zach because Zach is a friend as well. And he's agreed to come on. I don't think he's going to talk about the problems that are going on, or guns being taken away. But I think he is going to update us on some of the good things that are going to be going on in the city of Cleveland. And so I'm interested to hear that stuff too.
Well, I know I am very rarely one that wants the call in advance to kind of talk through the show. As I'm sure you figured out, I'm not that guy. That's one I'll take the call in advance because I think I could cause your friendship to end in like 2 seconds by asking him a bunch of bad questions that he's not going to want to hear.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, I want to get into the what's going on, why are you taking our guns kind of questions and stuff like that, and why there's so much violence in the streets of Cleveland. But if he doesn't want to go that way, I understand. I mean, he's got a job. I mean, so
yeah. I'm not trying to get the guy fired.
We'll talk about a guy in Zach that, since I got sick, has reached out to me to see how I was doing. Every single holiday, I get a text from Zach saying, "Hey, hope you and your family," and it's not just a mass text. He's like, "Hope you and your family are doing good, Seth. Happy Easter," whatever it is.
Right.
And so I respect him as a person, maybe not as a politician. I don't like his views.
Sure.
But I respect him as a person and as a friend. And so I'd like to catch up with him and just say hi.
Yeah, no, that'll be cool. Again, I'm not trying to get anybody fired, but you're going to definitely have to tell me what I can and cannot say because, I will say exactly what I've been saying about the guns. I'll hold up my gun and I'll say, "Are you coming to get it? Here it is."
And then I have been in contact with people talking to get Jim Renacci back on the show.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And somebody else to talk about the November ballot.
Yeah, I guess we have to start now, don't we?
We do, because early voting is going to start before you know it. And if the conservatives, the Republicans in the state, in the city, which in the city there doesn't appear to be a whole lot, but in the state, if they don't start getting out and voting early, then we're going to have some headaches.
Mm-hmm.
You may be able to smoke that weed as they're pulling babies out at 9 months and slaughtering them.
Yeah.
So we do need to do something. Yeah. Let's get out and vote. You got to get out and do something. I do believe, as I said at the beginning of Bob's interview, I think we're at a tipping point.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had this caller today, like I said earlier, that said it's going to be a black versus white in the streets. No, it's not. This is a good versus evil, right versus wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're attacking our children. They're attacking a normal way of life.
Sure.
And what is normal? What is normal is men get changed in men's locker rooms, women in women's locker rooms, and kids don't deal with sex until they get older.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's normal.
Well, it used to be normal. Now that's
Used
a
to be
foreign
normal.
comment. No, that's a foreign concept, man.
But there's a lot of things, whether it's the green energy stuff that we're not prepared to handle here in this country, and is a farce in my opinion. But now we're banned on YouTube. All this stuff, we're at a tipping point, and something's got to give.
Right.
So I'm interested to talk to people like Jim Renacci and other people to see what they think is in store.
Of course.
CMS Chris has no filter.
No, there's truth to that.
The political cycle never ends. No, it doesn't.
No, it really doesn't.
I'm happy that Bob didn't want to get into the
president
stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to go there a little bit, but again, I feel so bad. I'm going to have to apologize like crazy to him on Wednesday. I have a doctor's appointment I got to go to tomorrow, so I'm not going to be doing the show. But going forward,
yeah,
I'm going to be doing the show, running the show for Bob anyways. I'm going to have to apologize for keeping him as long as we did because I feel really bad. His wife.
Well, how long did you tell him you're going to be? 15 minutes?
Well, we only generally our guests are on for like what, half hour tops,
yeah.
And he was on for an hour
and a half. He was on for what, an hour 15?
Yeah,
but
but he had so much good stuff to say,
and it's not like, I mean, dude, you know this. You've done a million interviews. When a guest is ready to go, they start giving you the answers that tell you it's time to wrap it up. He wasn't doing that at all. He was still giving full, long answers.
That's because he's a good talk show host.
Well, it's also because he wasn't feeling like he was like overburdened by the interview either.
We had a request. Hang on.
Oh my God. Staples actually sells staples.
She makes a good point.
She does.
Tip of the spear, as they say.
I want to put my address on top of that sign that she's running towards, though. Kidding. I'm a happily married man.
Yeah, please. You ain't kidding.
Well, I mean, if my wife was into it, maybe.
She might give you a pass.
No, I was saying, like, she was into it.
Yeah. She might give you a pass. She might say, hey.
All right. See, we have a great guest on. Now we're going straight down the tube.
You played the clip, not me.
I played the clip. I mean, it was a request. That's all it was.
Hey, you play a sexual clip, you're going to get me to react. I am a perv.
And my wife chimes in. I missed the beginning. Yeah, see?
Well, we've
what
seen
happened
her
at the
now.
beginning of the show is my internet died. And
Yeah,
now it's been fine ever since then.
The beginning of the show, you heard Seth going,
My dad says that I should call them and say I'm losing money because of it.
He's not wrong.
What are they going to give me? $1.50 for having to reboot my computer?
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is it takes away from the professionalism of the show that you're presenting as a business that you're trying to build.
I just played a girl running towards a sign that says Dicks, and you're going to talk about the professionalism of this show?
Yes. She's looking for a fishing rod.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or some kind of rod.
Yeah, a rod indeed.
Yes.
All right, we got one more break here to get in.
Okay.
Get it done, and then we can finish. I got to listen to Tony's voicemail. See,
right.
I want to know if our restaurant reporter got us videos of the.
Seth, I got these videos. I don't know how to get them to you.
So this is going to be a quick break, though. Quick break, and then
Okay.
we're going to come back and do whatever.
Finish it up.
Yes. Hang on.
There's no place like home, and whether it's furniture, artwork, home accessories, appliances, or that one-of-a-kind collectible, Yellow Brick Road Online Auctions allows you to find everything you need from the comfort of your own home. The owner of Yellow Brick Road Auctions has been conducting online estate auctions for over 8 years by providing homeowners with a stress-free process to liquidate all items that have accumulated over the years.
I'm Melissa Mendici, owner of Yellow Brick Road Auctions. Log on today to find your heart's desire.
Hey, it's Seth. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Good point.
I'll lead an
Yeah, he's got a point, right?
He does. Only he knows it, but he has a point.
So did you hear about the Chinese now? They're rewriting the Bible.
Yeah, you sent me the clip. I did not watch it. What are they saying now? That instead of slaying
the Chinese Marxist, fascist, whatever party is now rewriting the Bible, I guess to fit their own whatevers, and now they have made Jesus a murderer. I guess the part where he says, "Ye or he who has not sinned, cast the first stone."
Okay, yeah.
At that point, he picks up a bunch of stones and starts stoning a woman to death.
Ah. And what prompted this change?
I don't know. Because the Chinese don't like us?
Well,
or they don't like our religion, or they don't like...
So
because the world is crazy, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. And it's not just here in America that we're all messed up.
No, it's
everywhere.
Sure.
And we have a president who's in bed with the Chinese, who's trying to change the Bible. There's an attack on men. There's an attack on Christianity. There's an attack on women. There's an attack in this country that's going on from all angles, hitting good people and morals and values square in the face.
Right.
And when I feel like I'm going off the edge and I post stuff on Facebook like I did like a week or so ago, it's because that's what's going on. We are literally heading over the cliff of sanity.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an attack on people like you and me who are fairly good people. When I say that, we're not murderers, we're not rapists, we're not racist, horrible people. We are good people. And there's an attack on Christians, there's an attack on all this stuff. And it's kind of scary, and I don't know what we do.
Sure. What Bible is it? I mean, is it the St. James version? Is it the I don't know what other versions there are. There's more than one version though, I know that, but you know, is there I don't know, is there a Chinese version of the Bible?
I wasn't aware Chinese believed in the Christian Bible.
You know.
However, the number of Chinese people that believe in the Bible are growing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But the point is not necessarily that they're even changing. The point is that there's an attack on values across the world.
Yeah. Well, we just got to stand our ground. That's what we do.
And Gunner's right. They also made a deal with the Vatican.
Yeah, well, the Vatican's always been a bag of shit.
Is there any hope for the world? I don't know.
No.
You know, one of the interesting things that I do get to do when I'm working up at the station, not only do I do Bob stuff now, anyways, in the morning, which is great.
Yeah.
It's a great shift, and I love the hours, and it's fun. And listening to him, I mean, I'm smarter for it.
Sure.
But one of the other things I get to do is, like Sunday nights, I'm up there, and I work, and I'm doing other things for the station. And one of the things I do is I listen and run shows for some pastors in the area on 1220, not just 1420, but on 1220. And, you know, I get into some, not on the air, but some pretty deep discussions with these guys about what's going on and about why is this a sign of what's coming.
Right.
And I know we're even talking to Flat Earth guy, who is also a pastor, oh, by the way, that there is something coming.
Sure.
Whether it's biblical or what, we're headed in a direction that isn't going to be good.
Well, he said, what, 2 years?
Who?
He said something, Pastor Mike.
Yeah.
He said 2 years, something.
Well, he said in the fall something was going to be happening.
Oh, it's this fall? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So we might have 2 weeks.
And there are passages, I guess, in the Bible that point to, some of this stuff coming. And, it's really, like, I used to go to Bible study.
Sure.
In my path of life, I went from one extreme to another. I went from, hey, I'm going to party, and I was having a great time doing everything I can get my hands on. And then I went to, I'm engaged to a girl. We went to Bible study 3 times a week. I went to church a couple of times a week. And, it was one of those churches where the hands are in the air. People are holding the hands. There's electric guitars and drums playing. And it's one hell of a service.
Sure.
To going, all right, well, there's got to be kind of like a happy medium between
what
I was doing and then what I ended up doing. And so I kind of merged the two and still believe. And of course, I'm a believer in God. And I try to educate myself on stuff like that. But I'm not what I used to be as far as studying the Bible. But these guys know what they're saying. And they are pointing at things that it doesn't look good.
No.
And I'd rather be prepared. I'm just being honest. I'd rather be prepared, and I'm sorry for everything that I've done, and hope that it can't hurt me. So apologize and take that side of things.
See, I'm so the opposite. I'm hoping for the meteor that they somehow didn't see coming. Just boom, done. Just gone in an instant.
If you don't believe, though, and then there is a God, and he says, dude, what were you thinking? What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I'd rather believe and be saying, hey, look, I sucked as a person. I'm sorry about it. Because I'd like to be prepared for that instance.
Yeah, but most biblical teachings that you'll get will tell you that believing's not enough. Almost all of them say you gotta be actively worshiping and putting your life in God's hands, more or less. You gotta be close to the guy that most people would say is crazy in order to make it.
And I don't want to screw up anything that I have, but I have heard a pastor talk. I won't say where.
Yeah.
But I heard this pastor talk. And man, he was really, really rude to people. Really rude, saying stuff like, you don't know what you're talking about unless you get saved, unless you're born again, you're going straight to hell.
Yeah.
If you're gay, you're going straight to hell. And I'm sitting there going, who the hell are you? I know a lot of people that are gay and or whatever. I may not agree with their lifestyle, but I know that they're good people. I know that they're very good people.
Sure.
I know that they are caring, a lot more caring than some of the straight people that I know. And just because I don't believe in the lifestyle and may go against my beliefs doesn't mean that I think God is all of a sudden just going to strike them down. I'd like to believe that God is a little bit more forgiving than that.
Yeah, but then they'll quote the verse about laying down with, don't lay down with, this or that.
Look,
or
I
whatever.
understand, and I understand what it says in the Bible, and I get that. But I guess my point is, I don't think it's some pastor's job to sit there and start putting people down.
See, but they'll tell you that. But they'll tell you that absolutely is their job.
But see, I disagree with that.
They will tell you that if they don't, honestly, and believe, dude, I am not preaching this from a place of believing this. I'm just saying that this is what a lot of
and I know you're
religious people think is that you got to be that side of Sherry Phelps Roper and the Westboro Baptist Church to get to heaven. There's a lot of people that believe you got to be that intense.
And you have a theology degree, right?
I do have a theology degree.
And so I understand that. But I guess my point is, ultimately, I think that's God's judgment. And that, we're all going to face something when we die, or we're not. There's people out there, obviously, that don't believe that there's any God, and we're just all going to, and you're going to be dead and gone, and nothing's going to happen to you. But ultimately, I believe that there is a God, and ultimately, I believe that is the judgment that I face, and I'm going to have to say, hey, look, I may not have been the best person ever.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of stupid things. Look at my phone. There's plenty on there to be ashamed about.
Look at the Dick's commercial you keep playing.
Right. God forbid, if I know that I'm going, I'm clearing my browser history like right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that when I face God, I'm able to say, hey, look, man, I'm really sorry that I wasn't everything that you wanted me to be, but I wasn't. I still care, and I'm still consider myself a good person.
My best hope is that if there is a God and if there is the pearly gates and all that stuff, that what the God would want is not a blind follower, somebody that just picks a cause and follows it blindly, but questions it and tries their best to live within the construct of it. But I mean, nobody can live rationally, reasonably in the construct of biblical prophecy or any prophecy, even like the Quran. I mean, we look at the Muslims that follow the Quran to the letter of the law as kooks, right? I mean, that's kind of what we've always sort of thought. But to them, to the Osama bin Laden followers of the world, they think that they're doing exactly what they were taught to do by the Quran.
I'll take the 18 virgins, that's for sure.
Well, it's 72, but who's counting?
72. Whatever. 18's enough for me.
The more the merrier.
When I was talking to that pastor, though, he was saying that he talked to somebody and who was reading a Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked, what are you doing? What are you reading in the Bible for? And the guy said, well, I'm just trying to figure everything out. And he looked at the guy and said, you can't figure it out by just reading the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, who the hell are you, again, to sit there and say what this guy's trying to figure out? He's trying to find God. Let him do it. And to put somebody down for that, I can't get behind.
Yeah, I'm with you. Believe me, dude, the biggest thing that my degree in theology taught me was not to believe in it. Because it's all so, I don't know, it's also based in, if you really look at it, it's also based in money, especially Catholicism. I mean, there's nothing.
It is now, but I don't think it was
I think it always was. Absolutely, dude. You go back to the Crusades. What were the Crusades? The Crusades were in the name of God. We're in the name of we have to collect believers and money in the name of the Lord. That's what they were doing. That's why they were going from country to country. It's been that way as long as there has been organized religion. There's been somebody killing somebody to make you believe it. It's always been that way.
Well, I know that I'll be praying. It is what it is.
And I didn't mean to turn this into...
all of a sudden, we got really deep.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go all of a sudden all Crusades-y on you, but...
Went from a great interview with Bob Frantz to getting deep on religion. Whatever.
Well, see, most people know me as the fuck you guy. They don't think of me as like having any knowledge of this stuff.
Well, you know what I have to say to that?
What is that?
Oh my God. Staples actually sells staples.
All right, Khalid Namar, Americans for Prosperity, Ohio, grassroots engagement director. I'm going to be on Wednesday.
Cool.
And don't know what else we're going to be doing, but we'll have some fun.
Very good.
God willing, we'll talk to you then. Thanks, everybody, for listening tonight. Thanks for everybody. Thanks to Bob for coming on and spending a great time with us. I will try to get that show this show posted as quickly as possible.
Cool.
And you, Chris, have a great night. And God willing, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yipper. See you Wednesday.
See ya.